Hello class, today we are looking at the parts of an expression or an equation. Your learning intention. I am learning to identify the difference between expressions and equations. So pause the video. You have 4 warm-up questions. Can you do those warm-up questions on your own? Well, I hope you tried. So to add or subtract, we've got to have the common denominator. I've got a 3 and I've got a 6. So my first question is, can I divide 6 evenly by 3? The answer is yes, because 6 divided by 3 is 2. So we know that our least common multiple for 6 and 3 will be 6. So I'm going to convert 2 over 3 to something over 6. So the first question you ask is, what do I multiply 3 by to get 6? Well, it's by 2. Whatever I do on the bottom, I also have to do to the numerator. So this is equal to 4 over 6. When I put it all together, 4 over 6 plus 5 over 6 is equal to, the 6's are the same, so 6 is at the bottom. 4 plus 5 is 9. Can I divide 9 and 6 by the same number? Yep, you can. 9 and 6 are both divisible by 3. So I'm going to divide top and bottom by 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So I've got the answer is 3/2. Or, if I want to change it to a mixed number, I've got 1 whole and then 1/2 more. So hopefully that was an easy problem for you to do. We've done a lot of practice with it. Next one. Do I divide by a fraction? No, you multiply by the reciprocal. So this becomes 15 over 26. That doesn't change. Times 13 over 5. Now, as I'm looking at tops and bottoms, 15 and 5. Well, 5 will divide evenly into 15. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 15 divided by 5 is 3. 13 and 26. 13 times 2 is 26. So I can divide by 13. 26 divided by 13 is 2. 13 divided by 13 is 1. 3 times 1 is 3. 2 times 1 is 2. Ooh, same fraction as I got the last time. So this is 3 over 2, or you've got 1 whole and 1/2 remaining. Hopefully that wasn't a stressor for you. Okay, so to convert to a mixed number, what we need to do is, 5 is equal to how many fourths? Well, the way you find it out is you take 4 times 5. So when you're converting, you multiply and then you add. Four times 5 plus 3. So that's 20 plus 3, which is 23. Okay, pause the video. If you did not get the first one done on your own, pause your video and see if you can do the next one on your own. The same thing happens. Multiply and then add. 7 times 8 plus 5. 7 times 8 is 56, plus 5 is 61. And you're done. So we'll continue to work more on converting, and we'll continue to work more on addition and subtraction of fractions. So let's look at today's lesson. What are the parts of an expression? Well, if you notice, you've got terms that are connected either by a plus or it could be a minus. The coefficient is the number in front of the variable. So here's your coefficient of 2. This doesn't have a variable, so it's not a coefficient. The variable is the letter that stands for an unknown quantity. The constant is the number that is by itself. So, constant is that number that will be all by itself without a variable. Not all expressions have a constant, but if they do, it'll be the number by itself. Your variable is your unknown quantity. A coefficient is the number in front of the variable. If it's not there, it is understood to be 1, because 1 times any number gives you that number back. Simplifying expressions means that we are combining like terms. Identify which of the following are like terms with 3a squared. So, for those of you that are struggling with the idea of like terms, you are looking at the variable and the coefficient. The variable and the coefficient. So the only variable and coefficient that like terms can have is a squared. So circle the following terms that are like terms. Okay, so let's look at the first one. Does it have an a squared? No. Let's look at the second one. Does it have an a squared and no other variables? Yes. So this would be a like term. What about the third one? Does it have a squared and no other variable? Nope, it's got a b, so it will not work. Does this have a squared and no other variable? No. It's got the x, which is an unknown. Does this have a squared by itself? No. If it didn't have this part here would be a like term. So if we're wanting it, this would be our like term only. We could not use the minus 7. What about the last one? Yep. It's got a squared, no other variables. This actually, to be a like term, it would have to be a monomial, and this is a binomial. Okay, so we're going to simplify these expressions. As we're looking, what can go together? The x terms. 2x plus 5x. And then the numbers can go together. Numbers are always like terms. Negative 15 minus 7 more. So, when you're combining like terms, you add the coefficients. 2 plus 5. 2x plus 5x plus 5 more x's. 2 plus 5 is 7, followed by the x. Negative 15 minus 7 more. So I'm starting at negative 15. I'm going down the number line 7 more. This will be negative 22. If you're looking at the next one, we're looking for all the, we've got x squared and we've got x and then we've got numbers. X squared goes with x squared. 6x squared minus 6x squared. Your numbers go with your numbers. Your x values go with your x values. Negative 5x minus x. And finally, your numbers go with your numbers. Plus 9 plus 12. So, combine it all together. 6x squared minus 6x squared. Any number minus itself is what? This equals 0. So I don't need to worry about it. It has zeroed itself out. Okay, negative 5x minus x. This is negative 5. I'm subtracting 1 more. Negative 5x minus 1x is negative 6x. Then 9 plus 12 is 21. How did I get that so fast? Because my brain goes to, if it was 10 plus 12, it would be 22, but it's 1 less. Now, to simplify expressions, sometimes you use distribution. If we're using distribution, we have to remember to draw our lines so we distribute whatever's on the outside of the parentheses to everything inside the parentheses. Negative 6 times a is negative 6a. Negative 6 times positive 8 is negative 48. Does it matter where the number is, whether it's on the right side or left side of the parentheses? No, you still do the same thing. Looking at the next one, we're multiplying by 2. 2 times 9m. 2 times 9 is 18. 18m. 2 times 10 is 20. 18m plus 20, and we're done. Multiplying by negative 4. Pause the video and see if you can do it on your own. Can you do the next one all by yourself? Now let's look at the process. Negative times negative, negative 4 times negative 6p. Negative times negative is a positive. 4 times 6 is 24, followed by p. Negative 4 times positive 7. Negative times a positive is a negative. 4 times 7 is 28, and I am done. What happens if you've got a plus or minus in addition? Well, you don't stop, you just keep going. So negative 4 times h and negative 4 times 2. Negative 4 times h is negative 4h. Negative 4 times positive 2 is negative 8. Now bring down the rest of the expression, which is minus 3. You can't forget about it just because it's on the outside of the parentheses. Now, I can combine my like terms, which are the two numbers. So, negative 4h. Negative 8 minus 3 more. Combine them with addition. 8 plus 3 is 11. Keep your negative sign. Negative 11. Okay, the next two are kind of different because the first one has 2 parentheses, and then the second one has 1 parenthesis, but it is in the middle of your expression. So distribute both of these, and then you'll gather your like terms. 3 times A is 3A, plus 3 times 4 is 12, 5 times 2A is 10A, so this is plus 10A. 5 times negative 3 is negative 15. Gather your like terms. 3A and 10A. 3A plus 10A. Gather your numbers together. Plus 12 minus 15. Okay, I've got 3A here. I add 10 more A's. 3 plus 10 is 13. I've got positive 12 and I'm subtracting 15. So that means it's going to be a negative number because the 15 is greater than the 12, but I'll find their difference first. 15 minus 12 is 3. Keep the sign of the larger, which is negative, and we're done. Okay, pause the video and try to set up the next one without finishing it up. Can you set it up yourself? Remember to keep that sign with it. I hope you did that first step. So 13x plus 12 doesn't change. Now, multiplying everything by a negative 2. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 5, negative times negative is a positive. 2 times 5 is 10. Then bring the rest of it down, plus 18. Gather your like terms. I've got 3x minus 2x. Then you've got your numbers. Plus 12, plus 10, plus 18. Okay, 3x minus 2x, 3 minus 2 is 1, so I will just put x. We usually don't put a coefficient of 1 there because it's understood to be there. If I'm looking at this, I know that 12 plus 18 will give me 30, plus 10 will give me 40. So if you're looking at this, you've got a 10 here, a 10 here, a 10 here, so that would be 30. Then you've got 2 plus 8, which is another 10, which gives you 40. I know I'm successful when I can simplify expressions. So what we know, what we have learned is what is a coefficient, what is a term, what is a variable, and what is your constant. And we also combine like terms. So within that last statement, it's understood that you do have to know what like terms are. If you are still struggling with any of that, please let me know and we'll have a conversation.